Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.
Good morning and welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I'm Sabrina Daly.
And I am Isana Kayetano. Good morning.
And it's a lovely Wednesday morning, Wednesday.
Yes, the sun is out and it's shining bright. We're off to a great start for the Hump Wednesday.
Yes, I agree,
The midweek
Isani.
blues.
Well, not really blue today. You know, the weather is great, as you mentioned. We experienced some showers yesterday. I will say I'm looking forward to this weather from Brett, but you know, I'm glad that we're not about to endure a really terrible storm as most of us, I feel like, anticipated.
I have my opinions on that.
Tell us.
No, I mean, it's good to be abreast of things that are happening, particularly with the weather.
Yeah.
But one must always be careful not to, you know, create a sense of panic where it's not necessary.
Yeah.
And with social media and the fact that information is readily available, a lot of us have become forecasters in our own right.
Yep.
And because of that, and how we process and interpret the information that is available, we tend to mislead either ourselves or others. And so it's a very, very, you know, thin line between being informed and misinformed.
Yeah.
And spreading misinformation.
And I think that is one of the reasons why we constantly try to reassure our viewers of particularly the El Nino phenomenon that we are experiencing, because persons believe that because we are experiencing these constant heat waves that we are to expect a lot of hurricanes. And ideally that's what you would think, you know, a lot of heat brings bigger storms, but in this case the bigger storms works in our favor because apparently they don't transition into many hurricanes or at least an overactive hurricane season. So I agree with you. There are definitely a lot of social media experts in many other areas. But I think regardless of that, just knowing that there was a big storm outside and you know it's the start of the hurricane season, it's cause for concern. And you know what, Isani, I think it's better to be concerned than not concerned, because then you're not able to prepare in advance. So whatever the case is.
Tracking the weather for me, when I look at what's taking place out there, it's like when we first learned about the COVID-19 virus, everybody became a self-styled expert.
We were all doctors.
Yeah, and for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
So what I do personally, I leave weather, I leave medicine, and so on, viruses, to the experts.
Yeah.
Let them be the one to provide the guidance.
Go with the facts. Go with the facts, and of course, with that in mind, listen to the official reports. And that's, again, like I said, Isani, why we try to ask all the questions that the public is asking, just to clear up those misconceptions and those social media forecasters that are issuing out information based on their own opinions. But yeah, I definitely say that I'm enjoying this type of weather. I think it's right in the middle of cool and warm. And I'm glad that we don't have any real threat to, or at least from Tropical Storm Brett.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's immediately what I thought while I was driving to work this morning. But aside from that, it is a lovely Wednesday, and yeah, there's quite a few topics buzzing on the international realm. I definitely know that a lot of people are talking about this issue with a submarine in the United States. Sorry?
A submersible.
A submersible, is it like a...
A submersible is not a submarine.
Okay.
Right? it's an underwater vehicle. In this case, it has to be tethered to an actual ship on the surface. So yes, we're talking about Ocean Gate.
I thought
right?
it was a submarine.
No, it's a submersible.
Uh-huh.
So yes, we're talking about Ocean Gate,
Yeah.
where you pay $250,000 US to get in this vessel and go down to a depth of 3,800 meters, roughly
2 miles, yeah.
miles, to view firsthand the wreckage of the Titanic. Now, when we think Titanic, we think about this great movie
Yeah.
back in 1997, right, with Jack and Rose. But yes, it was a real disaster out at sea. And so the remains of the vessel sunken at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean is for viewing. It's like a tourism experience, right? But here's the thing, Sab. The construction of this vessel was crude, to say the least. In other words, it was made out of some homemade materials and stuff like that, right? And so I was watching several news clips, including one from CNBC, if I'm not mistaken, where the reporter was speaking with the chief executive officer for Ocean Gate, the company that's responsible for building this apparatus. And what is funny, absolutely funny, hilarious even, because the reporter just burst out into laughter, that the vessel is controlled by a PlayStation controller. Now, if you're a video game, if you're a gamer, that's the control, the handheld that you use to navigate 3D realm if you're playing video games, right? So there's a lot that's going on here.
Yeah.
Aside from the fact that the vessel has disappeared, and so there's
That's the control thing.
Yes, there it is.
Wow.
Right, and so the vessel has vanished, and a team has now been sent to try to investigate and try to find this vessel. Now, another ironic part of it is that in a previous test phase, the vessel had also disappeared for 2 hours with no contact or what have you. And so it's like the writings are on the wall. Like everything was there that says, you know what, we're off to a failed start here.
Yeah. It's definitely a suicide mission, testing out something that has failed before. But we do have an interview from international news that we will be airing, just to give you guys a little bit more context to what we are saying at this time. So we're going to air that now.
We've been out to the Titanic. We went out in 5 8-day missions. We did about 10 dives to the wreck site of the Titanic, and we did an extra dive on an undiscovered reef that we found. Completely privately funded operation, and we're funded by, we call mission specialists who help support the mission. So they take quite a bit of money to come and join us. Years ago, the Russians took tourists out to the Titanic, and it was just sort of a look and see thing. We really are focusing on the science around it. We want to document what the wreck is like now, and also try to predict what it'll be like in the future.
All right, that was a video explanation, a news piece explanation at least, on the submersible before actually leaving. And Desani, when you look at that size, that submersible had 5 persons in it.
With their feet folded in the manner in which the reporter just demonstrated, yes.
First of all, I'm thinking, one, I'm claustrophobic, and 2, I paid $200,000 for a tight space like that, and obviously, I mean, it's about the visuals, what you see, you know, a part of history.
It's about a unique experience. In much the same way, people would spend thousands of dollars to go on a space expedition, right? It's you understand the inconvenience of a cramped space, but it's a one-off experience.
I'm thinking at this time, though, Isani, you're stuck down there for. I mean, they said that the submersible can only be down there for 96 hours without until it loses complete oxygen.
Roughly 7 days, if I'm
yes.
not, 6 to 7 days, I think.
And it was reported, I guess, missing Sunday. So we're racing, you know, against time at this point.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is that at that depth, there is no sunlight penetrating the sea. So you're in utter darkness, right? You've lost contact, so there's no communication between the submersible and the vessel
Yeah.
above. And I could only imagine the hysteria of that. Like,
I believe a minor is also among the 5 members.
crazy.
Yeah, I cannot imagine what that experience is like. Isani, I barely want Goraki. I barely want to be on water top, much less
That's the
at the
extreme
bottom.
end, though. That's the
But I'm just telling you,
That's the
like
extreme
I can imagine what that feels like. The
Yeah.
hysteria, the fear, the claustrophobia, as I mentioned. That's a really tight space for 5 people. And I mean, I don't know, it really makes me think that there are some ventures to me that are just not worth it. I wouldn't do that. I would not have gone down there. And I want to ask our viewers, would you have ever, decided to take that leap of faith and venture down in the deep blue seas, the ocean floor, to experience something like the viewing of the Titanic?
Well, there are a lot of questions to ask in respect of what we see here. I mean, was this vessel cleared by any authority that says it passes a minimum standard for this kind of an operation, a deep sea operation, right? When you invent something, or when you are dealing with human lives, there has to be some kind of a minimum standard or a threshold.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm asking the question openly. I mean, was there any authority that looked at this thing and said, okay, this is incapable for this kind of operation, or what have you?
Well,
that to
I
me is the
imagine.
first question.
Yeah,
How do you clear something like this for use? Yeah.
Well, we do have an interview of after, and of course this again is via international news, of where it was reported that the vessel was missing, so we can air that now as well. Okay, all right, we're gonna just transition into other topics that are buzzing because we don't actually have that video. But yes, Isani, one of the other conversations that has been having on social media is that of the Prime Minister's midterm report.
So we're looking at an 8-minute recorded statement that was aired yesterday. Very concise in terms of the points that were being covered. For me, it was a bit underwhelming, to be honest with you. I was sort of expecting more. A lot of it, and I understand that the government has to be able to, boast of its accomplishments, put on records the things that it has achieved over the past 2.5 years. I get that. I fully get that. But for some reason, I was expecting more. He kind of just broached over some of the topics and what have you. And, speaking of economic recovery and economic growth, and
Cruise
the
tourism.
$5 minimum wage increase, these are things that we've come to know.
Yeah.
I mean, these were discussions that were held over a period of time.
And have been covered extensively at that.
So it's like you're rethreading or you're rehashing things that we already know. And I guess it's from that point of view that I'm saying I was a bit underwhelmed by what I saw and heard. Nonetheless, the issue of the cruise tourism development, it was in the latter part of the presentation, but it's there because naturally it's a conversation that we're continuing to have as a people, and we're looking at what's taking place out there. And so the fact that the Prime Minister is also on record stating they will not be intimidated, threatened, or bullied, that stood out to me in the face of all the ads and the propaganda that we're being flooded with in the media regarding what's taking place in that sector. And, right after that, the Court of Appeal hands down a decision in favor of Stake Bank, right? So it's a never-ending saga, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the other thing that stood out to me was the PCC, the People's Constitution Commission, and the work of the PCC within a 7-month span, and their state of readiness now to fully get out there and put the message out there of constitutional reform. And it sort of preceded what took place yesterday at the Biltmore, where they're having this 2-day event where stakeholders and the members of the commission are coming together to discuss certain salient aspects of constitutional reform and what the process will look like going forward. So I think the Prime Minister's message in that regard ties in perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, as they mentioned, they're using 4 months to inform the public on the Constitution. This is also an opportunity for the public to decide what they'd like to be taken out or amended, and then obviously that will be taken to the Prime Minister and then to Cabinet. So they have their hands tied in that situation.
Yeah.
What I did find really interesting, though, was what they mentioned, what the chairman mentioned, that you know, a large part of them forming was spent trying to, I guess, deal with the different personalities.
Yeah, you're always going to have personality issues when you're dealing with individuals who represent various interest groups or who come from broad walks of life. People come with their own views, people come with their own, you know, sense of seeing things and interpreting information and what have you. So yes, personalities abound.
Yeah, that was, I found that really interesting while reading that. But yeah, those are topics that are currently trending online. Aside from the international news, I know that a lot of people are still questioning the definitive agreement situation, and of course that continues to develop. So as you guys know, we will be following all these stories, and you can find out more in our 6 p.m. newscast. But we're going to move things over to the weather, and we kind of touched on it this morning, Isani, on, you know, experiencing some nice weather, but we have to get the official report from the National Meteorological Service. As I mentioned, Chief Meteorologist Ronald Gordon informed us last night in our newscast that Tropical Storm Brett poses absolutely no threat to Belize, so that is great news. But of course, it is the hurricane season, so we have to keep a watchful eye, you know, for any other developing storms. We did learn yesterday from forecaster Cumberbatch that there is another storm developing, but I don't know that it poses any threat to Belize at this time. I'm sure it's very early. So we're going to find out more from them. But other than that, I'm looking forward to greater weather. I know that we should expect some showers from Tropical Storm Brett, but I know that everyone is welcoming showers as well after all this heat, right? We're all welcoming. We are all welcoming the showers. But yeah, what are your thoughts?
Is parched, and so it's thirsty for water.
Yeah.
A little bit of rainfall can't hurt anybody, right?
Yeah. All right, we're going to air an audio from the National Meteorological Service on the weather that you can expect today.
Morning. A gradual increase in moisture and instability is expected going into tomorrow. The 24-hour forecast. Sunny with cloudy intervals today, and then cloudy at times tonight. Showers and thunderstorms will be isolated, with a few more developing over the southern districts this morning and then tonight. High temperatures for today will reach 87 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 95 degrees Fahrenheit inland, and 80 degrees Fahrenheit in the mountains. Low temperatures for tonight will be 80 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 74 degrees Fahrenheit inland, and 70 degrees Fahrenheit in the hills. Winds over the open sea will be from the east to southeast at 10 to 20 knots, and sea conditions will be light chop to choppy. High tides occur at 11:27 this morning and then at 1:10 tomorrow morning. Low tides at 7:11 tonight and then at 6:03 tomorrow morning. The moon will set at 8:11 tonight and rise at 9:34 tomorrow morning. Sunset is at 6:29 this evening and sunrise at 5:19 tomorrow morning. The extended forecast. Cloudy skies with a few showers and thunderstorms developing over most places on Thursday. Activity will increase on Thursday night, especially along the coast. Then in the tropical weather outlook, a broad area of low pressure Located over the central tropical Atlantic, has a high chance of becoming a tropical depression during the next couple of days as it moves west-northwestward at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Then, at 6 a.m., Tropical Storm Brett was centered near latitude 12.9 north, longitude 52.0 west, or about 505 miles east of Barbados. Brett was moving to the west at 60 miles per hour with maximum sustained winds of 60 miles per hour. And this has been this morning's weather report from the National Meteorological Service.
All right, that is our weather update. And Isani, I have to say, I'm glad to not see triple digits. You know, we'll take the 95, just don't go to 100. I'll take it.
95 is still pretty warm, though.
Yeah, but it's better than 3 digits, so we'll take it. Yeah. But yes, that's the weather update from the National Meteorological Service. And now we're going to move things over to our eye opener. And of course, it's taken from dailyom.com, and it goes like this. There is nobody else like you in the world. So stop searching for faults and start celebrating your uniqueness. You are unique. There is no one else like you in the entire universe. In honor of your unique self, it is good to acknowledge and embrace the special qualities that make you the person that you are. One way to do this is to not compare yourself with other people. It is human nature to want to see how we measure up in comparison to others. But it is not a good use of our time to compare ourselves with others, because there is no one like us, and this makes us incomparable. It takes more courage to be self-referential and look at ourselves to see whether we are measuring up to our standards or meeting our full potential. Instead, if we can accept ourselves, appreciate the special talents and qualities that we alone possess, and realize that each of us is going through certain kinds of experiences for a reason, we're less likely to focus so much on what other people have or are doing. Realizing and valuing our uniqueness enables us to bring out the best in ourselves so we can get on with living, rather than preoccupying ourselves with meaningless comparisons. By no longer comparing yourself to others, you will see how much you have and how special you are.
Wow, quite an interesting eye-opener.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, let's begin here. Parents go awry when they tell you or ask you why you can't be like your brother or your sister or that one or this one. That's where the seed is planted. And you start comparing yourself to others growing up, and it's something that becomes sort of embedded in your psyche. To break away from it is often the most challenging thing for others. Now, as someone that has been quite self-assured and self-confident, I try not to look at where I am and where the next person is, in terms of personality, in terms of achievements and what have you. Granted, it's difficult because the natural urge is to compare, you know, either intellectual capacity, either physical strength, you know, these kinds of things. But when you learn to realize that you are your own person, and when you stare in the mirror and you see your reflection, that is you. That is one of one. That is one of a kind, made in God's image and all of these other things. Yeah. That's when you begin to understand, you know what? Let me use my uniqueness and radiate that singular energy on other people that are around me. Singular positive energy on people that are around me. That's what makes you stand out as a unique individual. And so when I listen to the eye-opener, and I'm thinking, this speaks to me directly, because there's no one else out there like me. With all my, you know, the goods and the good and the bad, all the flaws and everything, one of one. Yeah. There won't ever be one like me, before, after, with me. That even when you're twins, you still have individual personalities and viewpoints and all of these things.
I love your perspective, Isani, because I believe that it speaks to, well, me adding mine will really provide generational perspectives.
Yeah.
For instance, I believe that we're in the generation of social media where it's so easy to compare yourselves to other people.
Yeah.
When a lot of times what is being perceived is a complete illusion, you know, that whoever controls that platform or controls that social media page wants you to see or wants you to believe of them. So I really appreciate your perspective because I believe that it speaks to your generation. Definitely the Gen Zs and even the millennials, they experience the challenge of comparisons because of social media, and it's so frustrating, I believe. And a lot of times that's why there tends to be a promotion of taking social media breaks, because even if you are so self-assured, it's still really easy to compare yourselves to other people. When you see, you know, persons always smiling and looking like their lives are so happy, and maybe you're in a funk in this particular time, you question why you're not happy, when again, as I mentioned, it could be a complete illusion.
I don't use social media as my barometer or my measuring stick for anything.
And that's why I said it's a
sorry.
generation thing, because a lot of folks, and I don't want to make you sound old, but a lot of older people, I feel like don't, or maybe they're not as much challenged by that social media comparison, but definitely younger people are, even in their 20s.
It's not real to me. It's the
yeah,
land
but
of
that's
make-believe.
again a generational thing, because deep down, I think we all know that it's not real, but it still affects you.
Yeah.
You know, especially if it's someone around your age range. Maybe it's someone that you saw before in real time, and you're like, oh my gosh, this person is in their 20s, but they're like having this type of lifestyle, and why can't I achieve this? Or maybe you look, you know, like you guys had the same opportunities, but they got handed a better, I guess, card than you did or whatever. I don't know. It's just so easy to compare yourself with social media. So I really love this eye opener because it really reinforced the idea that we're all unique. And for me, what I take from it, for more of the younger generation, is that trust your timing. Again, what you see on social media is a complete illusion. Of course, well, we definitely don't recommend you posting your crying videos or your crying photos, but of course we're going to post photos that are happy to us, right?
That are heavily filtered, and you're using a
heavily
background.
filtered, yeah, but definitely
I can't do it. So.
Try to. Sani, let me finish. Definitely remember that we're living our own lives at our own pace, and don't use social media as the measuring tool to what success is, to what happiness is. And I think that will definitely help you with avoiding that comparison to other people. But yeah, I had to put that out there because I definitely see that there's a generational perspective here. Because I do think like you do, but I know that there are younger people that feel the need to compare themselves more at social media than even in person. But yeah, very interesting eye-opener this morning. But we're going to move into our show lineup. And of course, we have 3 great conversations, starting things off with the team from City Emergency Management Organization, also known as CEMO, who will be talking to us about their position and responsibilities they have in place for a hurricane.
Our second conversation this morning is about EGLA's Summer Reading Challenge. And with that said, we'll be joined by representatives from EGLA's Training Center to discuss this particular activity.
All right, and in our third and final segment, we'll be joined by representatives from Madisco to talk to us about the back-to-school essay competition. I love those stuff.
Yes.
All right, we're going to take our first break, but when we come back, we'll be joined by CEMO to talk to us about the responsibilities and positions they have in place for a hurricane. Don't go away.
For a smart share plan and save big. Whether you're a small entrepreneur starting up your business, a student on a limited budget, or a family trying to save, this is the plan for you. With unlimited SMS, calls, and data, we help you save. Get up to 5 lines for as low as $30 per line monthly, only with Smart. Sign up today at any Smart showroom or sales manager countrywide. So get your business going, share more memories with friends, and be ready for the day with Smart.
It's here! Introducing Cellular World's virtual store, providing you with an easy and reliable way to shop conveniently, anytime, anywhere. It's easy as click, chat, and shop. Simply add us to WhatsApp at 615-5141 and chat with any of our virtual shopping experts to inquire about your desired products. Place your order, arrange your payment via bank transfer, choose your preferred shipping method, and enjoy your purchase upon receipt. Start shopping at Cellular World's virtual store, and you will be entered to win cash and other prizes daily. And that's not all. Take advantage of our exclusive virtual shopping promotions, more prizes, and surprises. So don't delay. Add us to WhatsApp and start shopping virtually today. Cellular World. Low prices, more choices.
Hola usuario de eCash, la aplicación eCash está disponible en español. Cambiar el idioma de tu aplicación de eCash de inglés a español es rápido y sencillo. Déjame mostrarte cómo se hace. Primero, abre tu aplicación eCash. Introduce tu PIN. Toca el icono More en la parte inferior de tu pantalla. Selecciona Security. Selecciona Language. Y luego selecciona Spanish. Vuelve a introducir tu PIN y ya está. Tu aplicación de eCash está ahora en español y puedes seguir disfrutando de tu cartera digital eCash. La aplicación eCash de Belize Bank te hace la vida más fácil.
Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
Do you have information about a crime or a fugitive in our community? You can submit a tip anonymously with your smartphone. Using this program in safeguarding our community also protects your identity, keeping you out of the court system, and could earn you a cash reward. Here is how it works. Download the free P3 Tips app from the Apple Store or Android Market. P3 is the provider of our secure anonymous tip collecting software. Open the app and create a PIN, but be sure to remember that number, then select your location. Next, select the type of crime. When submitting a tip, be as specific as possible. If you have a picture, video, or audio that will help officers, you can upload them from your phone. Information leading to an arrest can earn you a cash reward of up to $1,000. Once your tip is submitted, you'll be given a tip ID and password. Check back if your tip leads to an arrest. You'll be told how much you were rewarded and how to anonymously collect your cash.
And welcome back. We have been joined on set this morning by the Liaison Officer for the City Emergency Management Organization, CEMO, none other than Melanie Dawson. Good morning. We've also been joined on set this morning by the Manager for the Local Economic Development, which is part of the Belize City Council, none other than Melissa McDougall.
Good
morning, ladies.
Good morning,
ladies. Good morning.
We're
Always
here to
good
discuss hurricane preparedness from the city's perspective.
Yes, yes.
When I think hurricane preparedness for Belize City, immediately my mind goes back to what happened last year.
Yes.
In terms of Belize City facing the most recent natural disaster and the aftermath of Hurricane Lisa and how we were able to rebound in short order. I say that because it happened so quickly.
Yeah, it sure did.
Yes,
But
it did.
we were able to get back on our feet in record time because of the work that CMO did, along with other partner organizations, naturally. But from your end, I believe it's more logistics and getting things in order before, during, and after a
Right.
storm.
Right.
Let's begin there.
Okay, so like you mentioned, you know, it's before, during, and after. So when it comes to the disaster department, we have to go by the disaster cycle. So what we do is we prepare, and then at the response phase, we respond, and then we have the recovery, and then we go to mitigation. So it's basically a cycle, and that is what we do within CMO. So starting off at the preparation phase at the council, like I always say, whenever the hurricane season done, we start back right again, you know, with our cycle. And it starts with the preparation phase. So for CMA in preparation for the city, what we do is we start off with our annual shelter inspection. And this is a team that comprised of our building inspectors, the city engineer, the city planner. We also have our coordinators from NEMA. We have the police department, fire department. It's an entire team. We go out, we do inspections at these shelters to make sure that it is structurally sound, you know, and it is safe. It is safe for the people, you know, to use in the event we need to activate. And then we also do capacity building, which is a very important part. We do have our shelter managers, you know, we have the shelter wardens. Everyone needs to know their roles and responsibility when going out and executing their roles. We also have our operations officer, which is Mel. Mel is an operation officer as well, you know. These are heads of our 15 subcommittees.
Wow.
So, and these 15 subcommittees basically is what we use to execute, you know, our duties for the city. So
I have a question. How do you manage 15 various heads without any one or any configuration falling out of line? Because it sounds top heavy that you'd have like 15 different persons representing various aspects of this operation.
Right, right. It's very tedious, you know, but what in our plans, what we do is I meet with each of these heads of these subcommittees and their committee members. So what we have in place is our plans. We have our terms of reference and then our SOP, which makes it very easy for us. So what we do is we just go by our plans, you know. We go over them together, we review them, we make tweaks, you know, we update them and so forth. So each subcommittee has their own terms of reference and their own SOPs, so they know what to do. And just to add in a little bit more, each of these subcommittees do not activate, they do not activate at the same time.
Right.
Some of them have, you know, activation point at the beginning or at the preparedness phase, while some activate during and then some activate after, you know.
It's like a cascading event.
Right. So it's a cycle. Everyone has their own part to play, you know, and stuff like that. So it plays out really well.
And one of the very important elements is always training, so that we are aware of what needs to happen when, so that when whenever there's an activation, we as the subcommittees, we would understand which role we will play following this scenario. So that's kind of how it works.
Right.
Now, I want to take things back a bit to last year and the experience with Hurricane Lisa. Now that we are in the hurricane season again, are there any gaps that you guys recognize that need to be filled from our experience last year?
Well, we took Hurricane Lisa as our ball, you know, to play with, not to play with, but this is where during Hurricane Lisa, we've, you know, found a couple gaps, you know, within our plans of execution. So immediately after Hurricane Lisa at the council, we did a post-mortem, you know, with the entire team, the mayor, the city administrator, and all the heads for each subcommittees. And we sat down, we, discussed where we found our gaps, and that is where this year, we made strengthening to our plans. So, I mean, simple gaps like, for example, with the transport and evacuation team, we realized that we need more transportation, to facilitate, shelter managers, taking them out to the shelters, running around in the city and different stuff like that. And next one, human resource. We need more shelter managers, to assist with doing these duties because they have to go on a rotation basis. So, small gaps like that, that we're filling in. So hopefully this year, with experiencing Hurricane Lisa and filling in the gaps, we should be on par. We should be on par.
I believe that every opportunity for us to learn, it comes from some sort of tragedy, like a fire, a storm, for example. So Lisa was a really good framework for us to kind of pick upon, just because of the fact that that wasn't as severe. So we had the opportunity to kind of wrap our heads around a different type of scenario real time. So it worked out quite well.
Going back a bit, I think if you're to look at Hurricane Lisa as perhaps the classic example of what should or should not be done from a logistical point of view, I think what helped Belize City a lot was the response from the other parts of the country.
Yes.
Right.
While yes, CMO is the central body for Belize City, in the aftermath of the storm, you have all these other districts and all these other stakeholders, if I could use that description, that were more than willing to respond to Belize City to help us get back on our feet.
Yeah.
If that were not the case, some people would still be recovering months later.
True.
A very important point to mention is CMO. We work a lot with our stakeholders.
Yeah.
I mean, they are basically like our core, because we need their assistance, in every move that we make within the city. For example, a part of our stakeholder team is the police. We liaise with them during activation time because they play a very critical role when opening these shelters. We need the law enforcement there because, at times the shelters, can get pretty much, in times of disaster, how to say it, disruptants and stuff like that. So we have the Belize Red Cross, they help out with the humanitarian aspect of it. And so we work well with them, like you mentioned. Yeah, we do. I mean, without them, we couldn't execute what we did, especially post-Lisa. Post-Lisa, we had the Kin farmers, we had, the different city council that came in to help us, assist us, MIDH, with the equipment. So with the collaboration and the great team effort, along with the mayor, he definitely gave them credit, for assisting us in the city. I mean, we collected about 63 tons of debris within the city post Hurricane Lisa.
That was, to me, that was a magnificent feat.
Yes.
To be able to clean up the city that quickly.
Everyone said it's record breaking, especially with the time frame that we did it. You know.
The reason I'm able to say that personally is because in my other capacity as a journalist, I'm out there, right? So I get to see Belize City before the storm, during the storm, immediately after the storm, and when the recovery effort is in full effect. And to be able to see that kind of a concerted effort to clean out the city. In previous occasions when we've had storms and what have you, debris remains strewn on the streets for weeks on end. In this case, everything that may... As quickly as the hurricane came, it went, and all the garbage and all the debris and sludge left along with it.
That's just good. It kind of goes to show the efforts and the support that we had received from everywhere. Because BDF was there in full force, like 200 and something soldiers. Coast Guard was a part of the cleanup efforts too. And I mean, at the Civic, that was our moving ground. So for the recovery phase, to feed everybody and to get everyone sorted out before we had to push off, get them sorted in teams and different types of things. It was something really amazing to see.
Yeah.
So it was great to be a part of that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, to see the concerted effort and the collaboration with all city council members and different types of things it was something to see. It really was.
Definitely.
For me, what was really inspiring, aside from that, was watching the residents of the city come and join as well.
Right.
Because it's everyone's business. You know, the city coming back or going back to normal was everyone's business. Because
Yes,
a lot
it
of
really was.
our properties were destroyed because of the hurricane. So, you know, aside from the logistics that CMO and the City Council has to, you know, prepare for when it comes to storms or natural disasters, there's also the importance of reminding the public that it's also their responsibility to prepare as well.
Right.
Yes.
How do
Right.
you guys share that information to them?
Okay, so what we do is, this comes with our preparation phase, you know, we try to share information, tips, you know, on how to prepare for the hurricane season, you know. And the thing is, it's not even only hurricane we try to push out, because simple rain comes in the city, and you know, a lot of our residents get affected, you know, by this. So we try to share information tediously on our Facebook page by giving tips, you know, what to do, what not to do before, during, and after. We also go out in booths, you know, we get invited to different events, and this is where we share our information. We also have our school program that our field officer, he goes out to all schools in Belize City. He does a presentation on disaster preparedness, and the kids love it. The kids love it, you know. I always say, start from the bottom, you know. They will take this information to their parents.
They'll take it home,
yes, they will take it home. They pass it on, you know. The hurricane flags we go over, and all of those. So we do bring awareness to our residents, the students, and everyone in the city.
From a planning and execution point of view, what would you guys say was the greatest takeaway from last year's experience in terms of now being able to implement certain changes going forward?
I think one of the lessons that I've learned is for our residents to be mindful of everybody involved in their movement, because there are sometimes people really and truly wait till the very last minute to move. So if it is that you see SEMA out and there are information coming to you, pay attention. Just pay attention. Get yourself sorted. If you know, everybody know the structure in the house. Everybody know it. So if it is that you know that this is coming to you, please make preparation to move, and quickly. Don't wait until the very last minute, because we do have people that wait last minute, and these are the people that we would have to be listening to over the phone, because it's really kind of gut-wrenching just to hear them being so scared, and you yourself cannot move to move them. So we want them to be mindful of every element of the preparation, so that they can be aware when to move and to plan accordingly. Get your stuff together, your water, your little pantry things, and just move your family, because sometimes it really is too late.
Yeah, and that's a really interesting point, because as you mentioned, that caused you guys to need more transportation, because if you have so many last minute calls of persons trying to evacuate during the storm, obviously you can't all be in, you know, every situation.
Working in the EOC on the day of Hurricane Lisa, just to give a couple, you know, of stories that happened, like Ms. Mel mentioned, we had phone calls at the very last minute. Many residents anticipated to move because they heard that the hurricane would have hit 9 o'clock the night, then it went up to 6 o'clock. And, you know, then the chief med officer said it went up, you know, like 3 o'clock. And at 1:30, we were already feeling hurricane force winds. So at that time, we had our cutoff point at the EOC. And that is when we couldn't send out any more search and rescues, you know, because we wouldn't want to put our persons in danger as well. So, like, you know, Mel mentioned, the preparation is one of the most important parts, you know, be prepared.
Yeah.
But naturally, I mean, I would want to think, unfortunate as it is human nature that we wait for the last minute.
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason, we're thinking, okay, it's going to hit, but it's not going to hit here. So I could wait it out, leave it, because I don't want to go and inconvenience at a shelter. So I'll stay at home. And then, truth of the matter is, time runs up on you.
Right.
Then you're expecting people now to leave from where they are to come and rescue you out of your situation. Which is, like I said, it doesn't reflect well on personal decision making, because you're not only endangering yourself, but your family, you're putting your property at risk and all of these other things when you do that.
And all those who have to come out to rescue, because we do have people that are, you know, they're also very, very cognizant of the fact that you are terrified where you are. So it puts them in a very compromising position as well, to try to figure out how to get you out of this horrible situation, especially if it is that you have family, children with you. And that's a traumatic experience for a child to have to experience as well. But I just really want to reiterate, just please, just prepare yourself and move, just move.
I mean, I definitely agree, because I think a lot of times when we think of emergency response teams, we simply think, okay, that's your job. You're supposed to know how to handle these storms. But we are also human beings putting ourselves out in danger. I mean, we have the same level of strength that you have. You know, a wind can blow us down the same way that it can blow you down. But we're taking that effort to try to rescue you guys because, you know, you didn't take the initiative to evacuate as early as possible. So aside from evacuating for yourselves, also evacuate for the safety of the response teams that are out there as well. And I think that's also important to mention.
It is. I mean, from our experience with Hurricane Lisa, it's not safe to play, you know, with
the game.
Right, it's not safe. I mean, look, at this time we have Tropical Storm Brett out there. It was going more north, you know, and now the trajectory changed, and, you know, it looks like it's coming straight to the Caribbean. So at any time, you know, these storms can change their path. So just like you said, you know, just always be prepared and not wait until last minute. And we try to, you know, put that information out there as much as we can.
And if there are any questions with regards to storms, because there are a lot of things going around, YouTube videos and different types of things, sometimes you get information that are old. So please connect with the Belize City Council.
Completely inaccurate. We were talking about that this morning, social media forecasters.
Yes, and it misguides people to the point where literally they don't see it coming at all. So we want to encourage you also to touch base with the City Council, CIMO, or your NEMO office, and they can guide you as to what to do.
Right.
I think my final question has to do with the collaboration with partner agencies. I know that while the Red Cross essentially stands on its own, it works hand in hand with all other government and non-government response teams and what have you. Let's talk about the work that you guys do with your partner agents.
Okay, like you mentioned, Belize Red Cross, one of our major stakeholders, you know, all of our stakeholders, they are involved in our preparation phase. You know, they are invited to our meetings. We plan together. You know, we basically do everything together. So in the event we do need to execute anything, you know, everyone is on the same page. When it comes to the Belize Red Cross, like I mentioned, they help out with the humanitarian aspect of it. You know, they would assist with relief supplies. You know, assisting the residents post a hurricane, you know, giving assistance, you know, tarps, mattresses, and different stuff like that. And then we have our BDF, you know, the police department, they help out, you know, with law enforcement and also search and rescue, you know, during, you know, hurricane time, and also post in the event we need them to do assessments, because the BDF and the Coast Guard, they also helped out our Donna team last year, you know, because we needed more human resource to go out, you know, to do the assessments in the city, so we could have did this within a time frame. So I mean, everyone has their own roles and responsibilities, but during, you know, the event, sometimes you get pulled away to do different tasks as well. So yes, that's basically how it plays out, you know, in times of disaster. We really cannot tell what would happen at that time.
I think communication is at the heart of everything
where
disaster preparedness and response is concerned.
Right.
Very true.
This is why we try to do our meetings, you know, monthly meetings with everyone. I mean, this is comprised of our SEMA team, our NEMA team, you know, everyone. So everyone can be on basically the same page.
Some of the partnerships that we have for the recovery phase, because the recovery phase is pretty much what we're coming out of right now, to be honest. So with regards to that, that's where my subcommittee would come in from the local front and also for the foreign assistance and different types of things. But there are additional bodies and entities that are very essential for that to function. So I believe that was one of the gaps that we had identified post Hurricane Lisa. So those committees have been strengthened, and there are SOPs that we are working on at this current time to make sure that the recovery phase is a lot better. Because if you think that it was great this time around, I mean, there's definitely room for improvement.
Right.
So that's what we're working at right now, so that we can have a much better bounce back, or faster bounce back.
You know, when I think about the city emergency management organization or all the other stakeholders that work together when we are in times of natural disasters, you know, experiencing natural disasters, I think of the selflessness of the teams and the fact that you guys have your own families that you leave to go and help other people. A lot of times, for instance, you know, the example of hurricane seasons at this time, you have to secure your own properties before, and you have to, you know, hope that your families are safe, your children are safe, your parents are safe. Talk to us about how that feels, you know, from the side that you guys do.
I believe one of the advantages of being a part of the EOC and the CMO team is knowing what you need to do to prepare yourself to make sure that when you leave your family, your home, and whatever else, that they are safe, so that you can function, because you can't leave your home and being, you know, trying to help someone else, and you're like, oh my goodness, what is happening with my house, or what is happening with my child or my family. So we also need to have all we need to have, just as everybody else. But like I said, the advantage is that we have it, we literally write these things, so we can definitely put into practice or put into play what we are preaching. So that's kind of the advantage of it.
Yeah, on SEMA's part, at the council, what we do is we have our family plans. It's also a training, you know, that we put into effort each year. So each staff or employee that is a first responder, you know, they have to do this training tediously. A family plan, what to do, how to put your family plans in place. And we also take this psychological part, you know, as an aspect as well, and we do trainings, you know. So everyone can be prepared, like you mentioned, not only to have your mind set, okay, I have to respond, I have to do this, you know, but also taking care of your family and your home as well, you know, so you can be contented when you're out there working, because you know you have everything set and everything planned up for your home and your family as well.
Yeah. All right, ladies, any last words as it relates to hurricane preparedness, disaster preparation here in the country?
Well, for my part, like Mel mentioned, a major part for me is the information. I want residents to always seek information from the official sources, from the news stations, from the Met Office, and from NEMO. Because having the wrong information to get out there, it makes our work harder, because it misguides and it misleads a lot for us, So, yes, just take information from the correct resources on my part, and please, start preparations from now.
Yeah.
From now, start your preparations from now.
Yeah.
Yep, and of course, pay attention. That's always my my takeaway from everything. Just pay attention to what's happening around you, and also try to inform those around you that may not have this information. Try to be that correct source. Get your information from SEMA, from NEMO, from your NEMO office, and disseminate accordingly.
All right.
And responsibly, I should say.
Yes.
Yes. Ladies.
Most importantly.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. We appreciate the information. We know that it's hurricane season, so this comes in a timely manner. And I know that we'll definitely be talking more about hurricane preparedness.
Great. Yes.
As we go, through the months.
Yes,
All right.
great.
Thank you guys so much
Thank
for
you for
joining
having
us.
us.
We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by Elga's summer reading program. Don't go away.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
You know, Bolido been playing at this country for over 70 years now. That before my mind even born, That just goes to show how cemented Bolido is in our culture and daily life. Thankfully, government recently get back for we Bolido, for we the people. So now, a publicly owned entity, Belize Government Lotteries Limited, will have management of the Bolido. And guess what? The profits will support NHI and the official charities fund, That means even more Belizeans will have access to healthcare, and other support they desperately need. And that all because of this change, I don't know about you, but I love the song of this. For we fun, for we profits, for we Bolido.
With so many different styles of light bulbs, sometimes it's tricky to choose the right one. Whether it's a screw-in, candelabra base, or pins, we have what you need. From lamps to ceiling fans, floodlights or chandeliers, we have bulbs available in cool white, warm white, or daylight. All you have to do is choose. Once you have chosen your bulb, the final choice is technology. LED technology is energy efficient, long-lasting, produces a high-quality light, and saves you money. Choose wisely and let Benny's be your one-stop for lights. Benny's, quality and saving.
Hey there, my name is DJ Dalla, and I'm here to well, not really move you, but I'm here to learn the facts about Dutch Lady and World Milk Month. So the next time you go to the store, choose only the best Dutch lady, and let's raise our glasses to World Milk Month. My friend here, Miss Aisha, will move you with the facts.
Did you know that Dutch lady comes all the way from Holland? Yes, that's right. 3,000 miles away from Belize comes our dear and quality Dutch lady milk. There's facts that you need to know about Dutch lady. 1. Santiago Castillo Limited is the distributor for Dutch lady here in Belize. 2. In 2012, Rainbow was changed to Dutch lady. It's the same great taste, same great quality, but just under a different brand. And on June 1st, we celebrate World Milk Day. Actually, Santiago Castillo Limited celebrates an entire month dedicated to Dutch lady. World Milk Month. Let's raise our glasses to another successful World Milk Month. Happy World Milk Month, everyone. Cheers!
Happy World Milk Month 2023 from Santiago Castillo Limited.
Belize's favorite Tuesday night entertainment is back. KTV The Remix Season 5 kicks off with the audition show on Tuesday, June 27th at 8 p.m. Tune in to see who will be your next favorite contestant. Then join us on Tuesday, July 4th at 8 p.m. when KTV The Remix goes live from the Bliss Center for the Performing Arts. Come on out and win fabulous prizes and get a chance to compete in our KTV challenges. KTV The Remix Season 5 is gonna be fun, entertaining, and it's only on 5.
Ray, what's wrong? It's him. He hit me again. Oh my gosh. This time it was worse. He slammed my face in the wall and threatened to kill me. If you or someone you know is experiencing family violence, call 0800 A Way Out. Or you can text or WhatsApp to 672-9628.
All right, welcome back. We are having our second conversation for the morning, and it's all about Elga's Summer Reading Challenge. We are joined by Juanita Batun, the coordinator at Elga's Training Center, as well as Ernilda Mejia, the assistant coordinator over at Elga's Training Center, but also Ronald Stewart, the vice chair for Elga's board. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All right, well, let's talk about Elga's Reading Center.
It's
Egla's Reading Center. Let's talk about it.
Okay, good morning, everyone, and good morning to you. Egla's Literacy and Life Skills Center provides training specifically in literacy to we have youth, adults, primary and secondary, as well as tertiary level. And we provide that from Monday to Thursday. But this year we have a shift now. We are planning a summer reading challenge, and where we are going to give students opportunity to apply their acquired skills in reading, especially in reading, through the fluent and oral expressive reading.
Yeah.
So this year we are inviting schools, primary schools, to especially we are asking the principals and teachers to select their best readers so that they can participate in this reading challenge. And we eligible students are from Standard 1 level, Standard 3, and Standard 5 classes.
What is the importance? I mean, this may seem to be a very obvious, almost rhetorical question. What is the importance of literacy, particularly for kids at this age?
It's an ability for us to build our skills, because, you know, for us to communicate, it's not only about talking, it's also about reading, getting information, and being able to look at the message that we are getting from, understand, interpret, and communicate it with someone else. So when we're able to read, it helps to build our potential to what we could eventually do. And so we have been focusing on this since the inception of the organization, when Jane Menzies Bennett set it up, the organization in 2005. And since we've been having the classes, it's been open for adults, for students in and out of school, and those who may have different challenges in their literary skills.
It's important because it's a life skill that you need to go on in life. Whatever you do, you need to be able to read and write. And when you look at literacy, it's reading and writing that goes together. So for the children in the school, you don't know to read and write, you can't do anything.
Get left behind.
Yeah. Even adults that don't know to read and write, they need to develop.
Do you guys have a large number of adults that access this service?
Well, Ms. Button will be able to tell you.
Well, presently we have a small group of adults. Most of our clients right now are primary school students and high school students. We would like to have more adults in the morning. We have a schedule, we open at 9, but we start classes at 10, and we go through the day up to 5 o'clock. So in the morning, we allocate the adults who would want to come, even youth, your dropouts who really want to improve their literacy skills, and they would come in the morning. And we provide an hour right now. We want to increase the time, but right now we are providing an hour of instruction. And then in the afternoon, we have the high school students and the primary school students coming because, you know, after classes, after 3 or 3:30, they would come in and receive their hour. Sometimes we go up to 5 hours and a half.
So at the same time, we want to advertise that presently we are taking in students, whether it's children from the primary or even adults, to come in and make use of the opportunity to try to develop their literacy skills.
How do you guys measure the progress or the turnaround in some of these students where they come in with certain literacy challenges and then they go back out sort of with a sense of fluency in reading? How do you gauge that?
Initially, we do a diagnostic assessment or diagnostic test. And there we identify the strengths, weaknesses of each student. And then from there we work on, and we provide the lessons, we give individualized instruction. And at the end of 3 months, we again provide a diagnostic assessment or test to see the outcome, to see the progress of each student. And then at the end of the year, also before leaving, normally they would attend classes for a year. They receive a certificate, and they also are engaged in tests, in exams, just as the primary school. We follow the government primary school schedule in terms of the time, the terms, and when they close, we close. When they open, we open our doors also.
I want to add that I have the opportunity to volunteer at the school, and I have noticed that Ms. Baton look at their needs, each and whether it's an adult or a child from a student from the primary level, she looks at each child weakness and work with them.
So it's custom for them,
right?
Essentially.
Yeah, guys, you see, generally in the cases where there are persons who are coming to EGLAS for the remedial program, in some time they have to overcome that fear that, you know, or embarrassment, recognizing that, oh, I shouldn't be here, or I got left behind for whatever reason. But it is important for us to recognize that, listen, in order for us to maximize our potential, we have to deal with the foundational issues. So reading, writing, understanding, communicating, and being able to do that effectively. And so the environment is geared to, one, an individualized approach to cater for their particular need, and also to help them to build on their abilities so that they become independent, productive citizens of the country.
And also give them a lot of encouragement, because adults or even children who don't know to read, they have this low self-esteem. And beside the individualized instructions, then we need to do a lot of encouragement for these type of students or adults who don't know to read.
I think one of the primary challenges, and I'll use myself as an example here. So while I may be highly literate, I had issues with numeracy, right? Where it was difficult for me to understand certain mathematical concepts. And I'm thinking for some people who have challenges with literacy, it could very well be the same. But there's a certain stigma that comes along with not being able to read and write properly, not being able to understand counting and addition and subtraction and these other concepts in math, for instance, that one has to get over first. And once you're able to do that and accept that you need help in that area, then you're able to kind of flourish. You understand, you're able to apply yourself, and then you go from there.
And this is where the encouragement comes in, because like what you said, that you had a difficulty or problem with numeracy, so are the other students. As I could recall, when I was teaching at Gwenley's, one of my students, when I was teaching, I used to teach at the evening division. I was teaching and she was always looking at me. So at the end of the class, I said, why are you, do you have a question? Miss, I'm afraid for English. She had this phobia. I said, no, just relax. And if you have any difficulty, let me know and I will work with you. But yes, we do meet students who have difficulty in reading. They have this phobia, either for the content or for the teacher itself.
Or just accepting that they are disadvantaged in that way. I'm curious to know how an adult would come to EGLAS and say, I need help. What are the approaches that you guys have experienced so far?
Sometimes the adults would come in on their own. They would find the place, for the most part. You know, for students, we have parents who would ask for help. But for the adults, they will seek help. And whenever they seek help, that's a plus for us, because they want to do it, they want to learn. And when they come in, we do an assessment likewise, and then from there we move on. But it's a different approach in terms, because they're adults, and we, Ms. Ernella mentioned about we have to build their self-esteem. Yeah, the life skills is a part of EGLAS Training Center sessions. We have to provide the life skills in terms of self-esteem, motivation. We have to provide that. So when we have adults, we have sessions with the adults first. And even at the beginning, they might be afraid that they would say, they might think that they will not be able to learn or to get the concept. And we would tell them, no, we have a process and we are going to start. And whereby, for example, right now we have an adult who is, the first language is in Spanish. So from there, then we do, it's a different approach. It's not like introducing sight words like for students from Standard 1, Standard 2. It's a different approach where we do some conversational, like in translation, and we have to do a lot of picture. For example, instead of saying, I can play ball, you see a little picture with a boy or playing ball. And if I say, this is my book, we have the picture, and this is the person holding a book. So it's a different approach. And I can say that, and that's the part that I am very not only enthused about the work, but to see the progress to see the improvement little by little, and at the end they grasp it. I have also another adult that is attending A-class for the past year, and she asked, he said, Ms. Batun, I really would like an evaluation at the end of the year. Sure, so I did it last week. And this adult, when she started, is a female, she's a female. When she started, she was at the standard 1 level reading with comprehension and sight words. Now, I am glad, I was so happy, and she was also amazed about the results. She is reading now right now at a standard 4 level, going to standard 5. So I told her, you know what, we need to continue to reach the standard 6, because her intention, her plan is to, she wants to attend the Gwenley's evening division. And I said, that's perfect. And at the end, she will get a certificate.
I don't think we can impress enough the importance of literacy in being able to navigate the real world, because that's the primary means of communication, right? You go anywhere, something is written, you need to understand what you're reading. It may be directions, instructions, critical information is shared in written form. And if you can't read that and you can't communicate that or understand it, then you're often left lost.
Yes. It's a communication too, because people who have that low self-esteem won't be able to, don't feel confident in talking or asking questions. So we at the center, we encourage and help them, motivate them to be able to develop this confidence. The self-confidence.
We believe that literacy is the foundation for our learning, either be computer literate, financial literacy, and you mentioned the maths. We start with we focus on the literacy skills, but we also give maths, because look at the problem solving. The child need to learn to read the sentence, understand it, analyze it, and try to solve the problem. And if the student cannot read the sentence, cannot interpret what is given in it, cannot comprehend and cannot solve the problem. So that's our goal. We know that literacy is in everything.
I'm laughing to myself, because I could remember my college years where, as I mentioned earlier, I was struggling with certain concepts in math. And the professor was a PhD in math and science, right? But she was never afraid to come all the way down to an abacus if necessary, for you to understand the basic foundation of maths and the concepts of math. So I'm thinking that with people who are adept in English and teaching people how to read, they too wouldn't be afraid to come down to syllables and start building from there, because once you understand the basics, the fundamentals, then you're able to understand how complicated it gets the higher you go.
Well, it's like you're building a foundation. You have to start at being, so phonics and pronunciation, syllabication, you're breaking up a word into its syllables and all the rest of it, that you can see the progress that one would be making. And that is one of the reasons why we are focusing this year on this summer reading challenge, because we want not only students, parents, but the community at large. And hopefully your new center will be able to have teams go over there at some point in time during the period of the challenge, which is from the 3rd to the 14th of July. So there are the preliminary sessions. Next week, there'll be sessions with some of the participants who will be there, just to give them a preliminary test to see how they're functioning, how well they are, and to highlight the accomplishments that those students are making and the opportunity that is available for others, so that when they are able to see what others can do, then others who may feel that they know that they don't have the skill are able to take advantage of that opportunity, or others could create it for them, so that they could have them enroll in the program and build their skills.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, I'm interested to know about the actual challenge, the competition, I guess you could call it. How will it be determined? Do you read a book? Is it a paragraph? What exactly will they be reading?
Okay. After the selection of students to participate in this summer reading challenge, we're having it at Eglas Training Center, actually, from the 3rd to the 14th. The students, we have judges who will determine the winners, the first and second, third, up to third best reader, and they are going to use a rubric. And the rubric will entail, expression and volume, and we have the phrasing, pace, smoothness, if they actually use the punctuation marks at the end, exclamation marks, and all the punctuation marks, and how well do they read. We are not testing the comprehension part, only the oral reading, how well they can read. And then the scores will be added, and that will determine the first and second. So because it's, we have invited so many schools in Belize City, more than 20 schools, we are having it for 2 weeks, only in the morning. So we will have the classroom conducive to that challenge, where we have the students in front, and then we are inviting few parents too, or the parents who really want to come in and really view that competition. We are also allocating space for them.
Also, we have on the day of the competition, we have selected books per level, different genre. So students will be given the opportunity to choose the book that they want to read. So they will have that opportunity. Yes.
And one of the things about it, it's not that they will have it in advance to study.
It's on the spot.
It's on the spot. You come in and it'll just be a few minutes before. Because you have to be spontaneous and be able to have the confidence to show what you're able to do. And so that is what's going to make it interesting.
I think so.
And they'll be able to see where they are in relation to the others.
Excellent.
Reading is fun, and it's fundamental. So,
so not only for entertainment, but for education as well.
Education. So do you guys, I know you said that you invited the 20 schools already. If anyone would like to be a part of the competition, can they join as well?
Yes, they could call Eglas and it's
227-0519.
Okay.
That's the number to call. And something, the parents too, the parents who are listening out there, where if they know that they want their child or to participate, they can come in and fill out the application. There's an application form to be filled out, and the fee is $10 to participate. And parents can come in, but we are asking that the principal or teacher, class teacher, sign the application form.
Yeah, because this particular time of the year, schools are winding down and they're quite busy with school closing exercises and what have you. But it's being done as soon as the vacation has begun, so that the rest of the vacation period they could either relax a little bit and prepare for the next class.
And that's good if they could take advantage of the center during the summertime as well, because it gives them a head start, if you will, for the next class that they'd be joining. I imagine. All right. Well, do you guys have any last words as it relates to the reading challenge, or just inviting persons to check out Egla's Reading Center if they feel that they would need the help, or if they know someone?
Not only the reading challenge, but to acknowledge our partners. We have been working with the Ministry of Education and have gotten support from them, as well as Restore Belize and other partners. And we're inviting the public to also look at what is available, and there might be persons who they know who may need their assistance, and they could provide that support to that person so that they could raise their level of literacy and their functionality. So once we are able to identify what is available, and we thank you for this opportunity to share what we're doing as an organization, so that it benefits the country, a person at a time.
Excellent. Ladies, good? Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate the information, and we look forward to, learning who wins the challenge. Yes. All right.
Bring a camera crews.
Yeah, we'll bring them, definitely. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by Madisco to talk about their back-to-school essay competition. Don't go away.
Hello, friends. I'm Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word. The Bible says, "And Simon Peter answered and said, Thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. And Jesus answered and said unto him, Blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood hath not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. And I say also unto thee, that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it." A more literal translation means that death nor any other organized power shall be able to overcome or overpower the church. When friends come with me to Belize, I love to carry them to St. John's Anglican Church. It is one of my favorite places because it reminds me of the truthfulness of this verse of Scripture. St. John's Anglican Church is located on Albert Street in Belize City. It is the oldest church in all of Central America. St. John's is a beautiful church. It has been blessed with some great bishops in the years gone by, some of which are buried on the church grounds. I love this old ornate church because it encourages me. It stands as a testimony of what Jesus said, the gates of hell would not be able to prevail or overpower or overcome the church of Jesus Christ. Men may criticize it, but it has stood and will continue to stand. Let me encourage you to find a Bible-believing and Christ-honoring church and be faithful to it. Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
Smart introduces Real Unlimited postpaid plans, providing customers with unlimited talk, unlimited text, and unlimited data. Now that's a real great deal. With Smart Plus, Share 1 and 2, and Enterprise 1 and 2 plans, you can talk as much as you want, text as much as you want, and for the first time ever in Belize, you can enjoy unlimited data with your postpaid plan. So come in and sign up for an unlimited postpaid plan and enjoy limitless possibilities. In addition, other plans such as the Flex Junior, Choice, and Select have been boosted with a lot more talk, text, and data, providing you with the best value for your budget. Be unlimited with Smart. It's time to power your dollar with Smart.
Hello eCash user, the eCash app is now available in Spanish. Changing the language in your eCash app from English to Spanish is quick and easy. Let me walk you through the steps. First, open your eCash app. Enter your PIN. Tap the More icon at the bottom of your screen. Choose Security. Select Language. Tap on Spanish. Then re-enter your PIN. And that's it! Your eCash app is now in Spanish, and you can continue to enjoy your eCash digital wallet. Belize Bank's eCash app makes life easier.
Belize's favorite Tuesday night entertainment is back. KTV The Remix Season 5 kicks off with the audition show on Tuesday, June 27th at 8 p.m. Tune in to see who will be your next favorite contestant. Then join us on Tuesday, July 4th at 8 p.m. when KTV The Remix goes live from the Bliss Center for the Performing Arts. Come on out and win fabulous prizes and get a chance to compete in our KTV challenges. KTV The Remix Season 5 is gonna be fun, entertaining, and it's only on 5.
I was 17 and in love, and I thought he loved me too. But now I know that a loving partner should not take away your choice of clothes you wear or the music you listen to. He should not take away your purse, car keys, or your phone so that when your family calls, you cannot answer. If your partner is controlling you, it is domestic violence. Call 0800 A Way Out or our cell phone number 672-9628.
Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
And welcome back. Our final conversation this morning is with our friends from Madisco, and they're here to discuss with us their back-to-school essay competition. Joining us this morning in studios is Operations Manager Carla Marin. Good morning.
Good morning.
And Marketing Coordinator Ivana Slusher. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
We're talking about an essay competition for back to school. What do we need to know?
Well, thank you for having us this morning. It's always a pleasure being on studios and set with you all. The essay competition it's our third year. It came about from our general manager as well as our management team wanting to make a difference in the lives of students coming out of high school, coming out of primary school, going into high school. So we came up with an essay competition. You write why you value education. Give us a little bit of background about yourself, your family, and why you what's your plan for the future. The first year we got 16 submissions, of which they were all wonderful essays. We have from PG all the way to Corozal, the city. The second year we had 19 submissions. The winner came from Punta Gorda. Wonderful story, a great story of a young lady pursuing education, being ambitious, having a goal and vision. And this is our third year that we're partnering with Quartz. They have jumped on board. Miss
Actually, ENR.
ENR.
Yeah.
My apologies, ENR. And they are actually giving backpacks with books to the 4 winners that we're going to select.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So in this essay competition, I know Mr. Carlo touched a bit about what is required, but we do have specific criteria. First, we would want an introduction. So we're looking for an introduction where you introduce yourself. We want your name, your age, and your class. Secondly, what's your favorite subject? You know, you're going to school, you will have a favorite subject. So just express a bit on that. Your favorite hobby, something that interests you in your free time, something you call fun. We would also like to know more about your family. So let us know about your community, what you do in your community, if you have any siblings, your mom and dad as well, and what they do. And lastly, this is where the students get a bit more, they explain a lot and they touch us in this. They let us know why they deserve to win this school grant, because they're getting a school grant. So they come with, and this is why we amped it up a bit, because like Mr. Carlos said, there were only 2 winners in the past, but we decided to go with 4 because a lot of the stories are really touching and it's really great. And it feels good giving back, and we had the winner last year, I think PG, that the school grant paid her entire way through high school down in PG. So that was, that was something that really touched us and we feel proud about. We would like this essay to be roughly 250 to 500 words. Make sure your spelling is correct, your punctuation, your grammar. We urge to have the students write it. Don't type it. Yeah, don't. Okay. Well, they can type it out. They can write it, because students do that. But don't let the parents go ahead and write it out for them. Let them,
I was gonna ask, because how do you know that I wrote that essay? You know.
So we go ahead and we thoroughly go through it, and sometimes we do pick up on instances where we're like, okay, well, this is a bit too advanced, maybe. So it's
that in itself is a bit biased too, though.
What if you had a mini Isani, you know?
Well, there is one. That's what I'm saying. It's difficult to gauge this day and age a child's capacity. Right? So things that we may not expect that they are up there with, they're already there. And then when they put it on paper, like, somebody else wrote that. But it's actually the child.
The child,
And that's where a team comes in. 3 of us would read the essays, and we select the top 6, and then we narrow it down. So it's not one individual that would have that bias. So we have a team that actually does the selection. And just to mention on what Ivana said, the young lady who won last year, she had a she has a disability.
Handicap, okay, wow.
But she participated in school activities, church activities, cleanup activities. When I spoke to her principal, she was like, "Oh wow, she won!" Man, they gave such a wonderful. She deserved it. That's what I have to say. And when we heard that $500 grant would have covered her all the way up to fourth point, we're like, we made a difference in someone's life. She's going to excel.
So what makes a winning essay? Is it the community involvement, aside from just having a well-written essay?
It's a combination of different things. I mean, you can tell it's written from the heart. You can tell that I would say 75% of the essays are students who have younger siblings that want to make a difference in their siblings' life, not so much theirs. And that's a feel-good story that we have all grown up and lived with. You can detect that immediately. A lot of the essays are also from single parents, so they want to help mom and help dad. But it's a combination of heart, the actual grammar, the family aspect of it, and wanting to excel. I mean, we have students who are 12, 13 that already envision being an accountant or a doctor, a nurse or a teacher. That's the goal. They have vision, and we can detect that in the essays.
Yeah.
Amazing. I think about kids at that age, right, where they have their future ahead of them. And not all of them come from single parent environment. Not all of them come from strong, solid families either. You have a cross section of kids.
Correct.
But what they have is brain, they have the will. Because I could imagine sitting down there during your summer break and penning this essay, all the thoughts that are going through their minds, and being able to put that into 250 to 500 words. That's a challenge in and of itself. Because you could write about your life and your ambitions and your aspirations, and that exceeds 500 words easily.
That's right.
So let's go back a bit to the composition of the panel. You were mentioning that you're one of them who's sitting on this panel, and 2 other managers from Madisco as well. Right? So when you guys look at this, is it that you're scoring based on like points or what have you, or just the general vibe of the essay, or what are the technicalities, so to speak?
Okay, very good question. Well, we first look at grammar, that, proper spelling, usage of noun, pronoun. Proper grammar is very key because it is the competition. We look at the economic background of the family, the number of siblings. We look at the area in which the child is coming from. It's difficult, but what we've noticed is that most of the essays come from our district. We hardly have essays coming from the Belize district. We get a lot from the Sand Creek district, from Cayo, PG, and Corozal. Not so much from Orange Walk or Belize City, which we would love for more participants to and I mean, we could up the ante and maybe offer 6, 8 prizes and try to partner with other organizations. But there are, like I said, 5 criteria that we look at: grammar, the family orientation, the economic background, the grades, definitely, because we have to get, most of the students are honor roll students. We just got an essay earlier this week from a valedictorian from St. Matthew's School in Pomona, St. Margaret's, and also we look at the acceptance. They have to be accepted in a high school already, hence the reason we pay the grant directly to the school. So those are the main criteria that we look at to select the main winner. and the other 3 consolation prizes, of which the first prize is a $500 grant to the school, along with the backpack from A&R. Second prize is $200.
$300 along with the backpack filled with books, and then third and fourth prize is $200 school grant and the backpack filled with books.
You've been a judge for 3 years.
Yes.
What has been the most touching story that you've read so far?
Honestly, the one from last year's winner, the PG winner, that really shook me. You know, just that's somebody who values family, there's her society, life, very religious, wants to help her siblings, family oriented. You know, that was one of the best essays, one of the best stories, and having her principal and her mentors around saying, wow, you're giving this child a future, you're giving her hope. And that's what we want to give through education. I think that's the main thing. Once we see the essays and the child having hope and vision and goals and aspirations and dreams, we want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to learn who's this year's winners. So how many submissions do you guys have so far?
Currently we have not much. We've only gotten, I believe, 5 submissions for essays.
When is the deadline, or what are we looking at in terms of a time frame here?
The deadline for the submission is July 10th.
Okay.
Yeah, so they
we still have a bit more time.
have time to go ahead and write on their pen and paper, and have the teacher before school closes, have them just look it over for them, or their parents or whoever they can, just look over that for them.
Well, truthfully, I guess at this point in time, students are still taken up with exams that are coming up, either preparing for or are in exam week, or however that works. So it gives them a little extra afterwards to be able to focus on that. I had a question. Do you guys go back and follow up on the progress of some of these kids that have either gotten the first place or who have placed within the 4?
Yeah, actually, some of the parents that we do follow up, and the parents do a great job of saying, hey, my daughter scored.
They give you updates.
They give us updates. And what Ivana and I were discussing, we want to go down to PG. We have a trip planned for early July, and we want to go to the school, visit the young lady, and it's a big deal. We want to follow up with her, do some mentoring, and see how best we can continue assisting her. So we do, but the parents do a great job of letting us know, hey, they're keeping it up, they're keeping that 95, that 98. So that's pretty good.
So this is part of what we call corporate social responsibility.
Yeah.
Big company like Madisco being able to give back one way or the other to build community, to build people and affect lives. What has been the reception from the general public regarding this kind of an initiative?
Isana, we do quite a bit. We do a lot, but we do it under the radar. We don't go out and publicize, but we do quite a bit for the community that we're in. We do a lot with primary schools within Belize City. We do feeding programs. We do a lot with our staff and students and their children and students. But we don't publicize, that much. It's more for us to just, that's our responsibility, and we feel good about doing it.
Excellent. I would love to read that. I would love to be, just being there and reading these essays. I think
you should be an honorary judge.
We should.
I'd love to just be on the side and reading too. I'd love to read last year's winner as well. I'm bursting with ideas right now.
Great.
But definitely, I think it's great that these kids still have an opportunity to send in essays, as you mentioned. The deadline is July 10th. So you do have a couple weeks left. And I think also what's important to mention is it doesn't matter if you don't come from a struggle, as long as you have ambition to continue.
Absolutely.
And of course, a well-written essay.
Yeah, and like Ivana said, get an early start, have your teacher look at it, and get some help. Have your mom, your dad look at it, and just build a solid essay around the criteria that we have, and it'll reflect. The minute it comes from the heart, we'll detect it.
Speaks for itself, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I still want to know though, like you guys, what if Isani kids sending a essay and all of a sudden you guys are questioning if it's Isani writing the essay, you know?
No, I think you're able to detect certain words. Certain,
Yeah.
You know, it'll be a challenge, like I said, and that's why we have a panel. But
He is a walking thesaurus, Carlos.
I'll say this, right? My daughter graduated on Sunday from Bernice.
Congratulations.
And she was the valedictorian.
Great.
And it's part of the reason why I said it's difficult to really say who wrote something when you listen to the vocabulary, the diction, when you read how they construct sentences.
Correct.
Today isn't what it was yesterday when it comes to learning and maintaining concepts and those kinds of stuff. So to have, like, it could be someone from Belize Elementary, for instance, right? Where, for argument's sake, that individual comes from a solid background at home, but this is a bright child as well. And when you look at what he or she writes down and how they explain their life and all of that stuff, their goals and what have you, I would presume that it's challenging to say, well, wow, that's the father who wrote that, or that's the mother, that's somebody else in the family or what have you. Just based on the exposure.
You know, or maybe there should be like an added element of an interview, you know, to test if they exactly, you know,
like
are the authors of those
do the
essays.
Presentation of those essays.
Test them to see if they remember what they wrote. No, guys, but thank you guys so much for joining us, and also just the contribution of you know, giving back to the community, back to these children as well, and of course giving them a chance to continue their education.
Correct.
I know that the families are appreciative, but the general public as well, and we want to congratulate you guys, Madisco, for the work that you do and the work that we also don't know, you know, that you do as well.
Well, thank you for having us.
You guys have any last words?
Any reminders?
Any reminders?
Just, you know, just to wrap up everything we spoke about, guys, you still have time to send in your essays. We're there at our computers waiting for that email. Of course, you can send it over to marketing coordinator at marketing coordinator, the number 2 at madisco.bz.
Okay.
So we'll be there waiting for your essays, and we're going to review it and let you guys know after July 10th.
All right. Okay, thank you guys so much. We appreciate the info, and we look forward to hearing who is the winner, or who are the winners this year.
Great.
All right. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we wrap things up.
My name is Wilmer De La Rosa from Santa Elena Town. I am currently a student at Cayo, set for employment training. Enrolled in the electrical installation program. In late July 2021, I got a confirmation that I was a successful applicant and would be granted a scholarship from Social Security Board. It was one of the proudest moments for me. I felt very excited to start this new path in my life. So far on my journey as a Social Security Board scholar, my vocational technical scholarship has assisted me in achieving my life goals in so many ways. For one, it has renewed sense of purpose, another chance at professional development, and a start at a new career. This opportunity has paved the way for me to excel in life as an individual and as a member of society. Great things are coming after I graduate from SET. I can promise you that. Applying for a vocational technical scholarship through the Social Security Board is simple and easy. I would advise young people in need to apply. It is possible to create a fulfilling and fruitful life with a Social Security scholarship. Believe in yourself and your abilities and skills. I always say the key is to always keep an open mind and let your determination be your motivation.
Your life just got a lot less complicated with Belize Bank Contactless MasterCard Debit Card. Introducing our Standard Debit and MasterCard Platinum Debit Cards. Now you can make purchases anywhere MasterCard is accepted with one tap, pay and go. Your contactless card never has to leave your hands, especially in these times. And your card is embedded with multiple layers of security. Platinum card holders get to enjoy extra benefits like price protection, purchase protection, trip inconvenience, and luggage protection, just to name a few. Start enjoying a cashless lifestyle today with the Belize Bank.
Welcome to Design Depot, home of Sherwin-Williams Paint. Sherwin-Williams Paint is one of the most reputable paints in the industry, known for its superior quality, durability, and environmentally friendly technology. We carry a large variety of products for all your home and commercial needs, such as interior and exterior paints, primers, wood stains, sealers, clear top coats, caulking, aerosols, concrete, and masonry products. Achieve professional looking results with ease using Sherwin-Williams paint and coating. Available at Design Depot, all in one place.
Smart introduces Real Unlimited Postpaid Plans, providing customers with unlimited talk, unlimited text, and unlimited data. Now that's a real great deal. With Smart Plus, Share 1 and 2, and Enterprise 1 and 2 plans, you can talk as much as you want, text as much as you want, and for the first time ever in Belize, you can enjoy unlimited data with your postpaid plan. So come in and sign up for an unlimited postpaid plan and enjoy limitless possibilities. In addition, other plans such as the Flex Junior, Choice, and Select have been boosted with a lot more talk, text, and data, providing you with the best value for your budget. Be unlimited with Smart. It's time to power your dollar with Smart.
And welcome back. We are wrapping things up after 3 great conversations this morning. We started things off with SEMO and hurricane preparedness. As you know, Isani, we're in the hurricane season, so this is a conversation that we'll definitely be having more regularly. Definitely we need to. But we moved things into EGLA's Summer Reading Challenge, and that was particularly my favorite, or one of my favorite conversations this morning, simply because of the service it provides and how it assists adults as well in learning to read.
I think when you look at literacy and where an ability to read and write fluently and effectively, that takes you anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Anywhere in the world. And building on your ability to read is always a good thing. And so we transition from that to participating in a competition that gets primary school kids who are transitioning to high school to participate in this competition that is being held by Madisco. That is where you hone your skills. So you've learned how to read and write earlier in primary school, then going into secondary school, you're being tasked or challenged with putting forward an essay that brings everything together. So I think
pen to paper.
Those 2 segments for me, I mean, beyond, you know, hurricane preparedness and what have you, those 2 segments for me were rather interesting, and how the 2 concepts tie into each other. Reading and writing, and then participating in an essay competition.
And just the storytelling aspect of it, that for me is always close to my heart, because I love hearing, you know, these inspiring stories, and for, you know, young people to already be looking to their future and reflecting on their situation, maybe the limited resources that they have and why exactly they deserve this grant from Madisco and its partners. I think it's such a impactful initiative, and I really commend Madisco for doing that. I also really can't wait to see, who would be the winners this year. I'd love to also revisit some of the stories that they had in the past. And you know how I go, Isani. I love hearing these feel-good stories. So I'm already, my brain is, going, and I really think that we need to have more corporate businesses coming together and giving back in this way. And I'm sure there are many, but they don't really talk about it. As Madisco mentions, having several projects that they work on, but we just don't know. And maybe that's something that we need to do. We need to talk about them more, because that encourages other businesses to want to do the same, and really to inspire the public to come together and simply work together in that way.
Participating in this kind of an initiative sets a certain example,
Mm-hmm.
so that other businesses can follow the standard, or the trend that is being set by the bigger businesses, corporations in this case. It's always good to help students who are either in need of financial assistance, or who just want the incentive to keep pushing.
Yeah.
Because, as we mentioned, not all of them come from, struggling backgrounds or what have you. But some kids just do their best, and they need to be acknowledged and pushed along as well.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely enjoyed that segment as well. All right, but of course we're wrapping things up, and if you are celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday to you wherever you are. If you also have questions or concerns, you can send us an email at oye@channel5belize.com. You can also check us out on our Facebook at Open Your Eyes BZ, and Instagram for behind-the-scenes content at OYE Belize. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and please join us again tomorrow as you open your eyes
to start your morning right.
Until then, keep your eyes, your mind,
and your hearts open.
Have a great hump day.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank.